I ended up collecting over 365 pairs of sneakers. I would travel, I'm not even joking, 300-400 miles, various stores to just find one pair of sneaker in my size.
Last 10.5 years, when my son was born, I started taking picture of him every day, a picture and a video.
Once you build that trust and you break down that barrier, I think it really goes a long way.
Sometimes you know that we walk away, we become angry, and those things will destroy businesses. It will not increase any profitability and hinder the growth capacity as well. I have tasked humanities, I have tasked film and television, software development, business development, and then AI. So last, I would say 25 years, I'm doing business. I'm 45 plus. And doing all those things, I have gained substantial knowledge, and that I am implementing it now with my work. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me another episode of Innovative Circle podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Shah Siddiqui. Welcome you for a great episode to talk about business development and business plan and grow your business to the next levels. We have a very special guest today, but before I introduce him, I just wanted to let you know that the Innovative Circle podcast is a weekly podcast, and we bring innovation and business development together. So in each episode, we're going to be discussing technology, artificial intelligence, and sales and lead generation, marketing, finance, business advisory and development, tax and accounting, and sustainability. You may ask, what is our goal? Our goal is to empower you with result-based content to create growth, innovation, and success. So in each episode, we will bring C-level executives to talk about their business journey and guide you through how they have succeeded on their specific role and business. Then we can create together the business growth that you're looking for. Hello, Shivam. Thank you very much for joining today's recording. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Mr. Sadiq. It is a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be here with you today.
Yes, as you know that this is a business talk show, and we intend to add value with specifically C-level executives to bring innovative ideas to the board and then work together to solve a specific problems. So those you don't know Shivam, I just wanted to give a little introduction for him. Shivam has years of experiences and working strength in translating financial concept into business plans. He is working as Aprio. He has experience across different disciplines such as corporate tax planning, business development, and financial advisory. He is a go-to advisor for growth and innovation-driven companies. So Shivam, thank you again for joining this recording. I just wanted to ask you if you could introduce yourself to the audience. That would be great.
Absolutely, Mr. Sadiq. So, yes, as you mentioned, Shiv Malhotra, I am a partner here at Aprio, leading our firm's global mobility services group. I have over 10 years experience with international tax, specifically with company corporate tax planning, as they move individuals across borders, as well as helping individuals as they make these move across borders and, change their life. Like I said, been doing this for over 10 years with a lot of experience in business development, growing a practice from nothing to over $5-10 million, and really enjoy what I do outside of work. I am a new dad, I would say, 15-month-old daughter who I had in 2023. So it has been a very rewarding 2024. Really looking forward to 2025 as well. And it's a pleasure to be here again.
Congratulations on your daughter, because we have spoken earlier before last week, I would say, in last week of January. And we've been talking different subject areas, and I came across about your daughter and good wishes for a new parents, because I understand the way I have memory for my son. He's 10.5 now, a little bit going to the puberty in next couple of years, but from growing to till now is quite a bit experience, that I would say. So Shivam, as you know that we're going to be asking a set of questions to you to understand and get to the bottom of each problems. And to start with, I just wanted to ask you, you are engaging with Aprio and a lot of others innovation plus 12 years. Could you please provide a brief overview of your business and share what inspired you to enter this field.
So let me start by talking a little bit about Aprio, the firm itself. We are a premier full-service business advisory and CPA firm that advises clients and associates on how to achieve what's next in their journey and their business. We work as integrated teams across advisory, assurance, tax, outsourcing, talent solutions, and private client services, bringing forward the best thinking and personal commitment to each client that we work with. If a client is not happy, we're not happy. So we always do our best to think what's next for the client and advise them as best as possible. My specialty itself is in international tax, as I mentioned. I'm leading the Global Mobility Services Group, which deals with helping companies as they transfer employees from one jurisdiction to the other, whether it be a short-term assignment, a long-term assignment, or business travel. I am involved at the onset with the company for planning purposes to advise them of the costs that they will incur as they look to move these individuals across borders. Mm-hmm. As we go through that planning phase and work with the company, then after that, I start working with the individual themselves as they have now triggered multiple tax obligations in various jurisdictions. So I help them to make sure that they are compliant with their obligations as they're crossing borders and working in different countries or different states. Making sure that they are always compliant and they know what to look out for and key deadlines, and making sure that they don't forget anything or miss anything is very, very important. As they have a job to do as they're transferring from one location to another, it's our job to make sure that they are compliant with their obligations, as well as the company. If it triggers any corporate tax obligations in various jurisdictions, we make sure both the individual and the company are compliant at all times. Now, what got me into this field is, I would say, pretty interesting. Actually started out working at an IT firm doing something totally different. I was doing coding, implementation of various IT applications, which is not what I went to school for. I actually went to school I did a double major in accounting and finance. Okay. So I get this job in IT relatively quickly before graduating due to my cousin who worked there. Mm-hmm. Took the job. It was very good, very, very fulfilling. I was traveling 51 weeks out of the year, every year, for the first few years out of college. That is pretty enjoyable for a single man who gets out of college. You rack up the points, you rack up the miles, and you get to see a lot of various places. Mm-hmm. I did that for a couple of years, but it really didn't interest me. I really wasn't into the IT side of things. Mm-hmm. But then my neighbor where I used to live was working in accounting, and me and her one day caught up at the gym, and she told me, I never see you around except on the weekends. So, what do you do? And we got into that and got into what I did for school. And she said, this doesn't really correlate with what your degrees are in. Mm-hmm. Totally agreed. And she said, my firm, it was a very big firm. She said, my firm is hiring. If you're looking to make the switch, you're very early in your career. So if you'd rather do something what you had a degree in, we invite you to, apply, meet the partners and see where things could go. Fast forward 2 to 3 weeks later, I was working at an accounting firm doing tax. Okay. And the rest is history. Ever since then, I have been really enjoying what I do. I really enjoy working with clients. I really enjoy working with my team members. So I guess that's my story and journey of how I got into tax and accounting. And it's been very, very fun overall.
Yeah, that's I would say that's quite interesting because, if you see my CV, you will see that I have many talents. And among them, I have tasked humanities, I have tasked film and television, software development, business development, and then AI. So last, I would say 25 years, I'm doing business. I'm 45 plus. And doing all those things, I have gained substantial knowledge, and that I am implementing it now with my work. So I can work in television and media. I can work in marketing and sales. I can work in business development, software development, and then AI and innovation. So it was a great story, Shiv, to listen to you because, if you wanted to do a job better, you can make it happen. It's your willingness. And I've been telling this to many people that I come across, mentoring and a lot of other things. I'm an advisor in the government levels. So whenever I talk to someone, I say that your willingness will give you the chapter that you wanted to write. Because without willingness, doesn't matter, you are expert in a lot of different things, you cannot make it happen. So thank you, Shiv, for adding a value to the audience. So my next question would be to you. Could you discuss the key issues in your industry and explain how your efforts are making a difference for your clients and collaborators?
Absolutely. So I think my industry has really shifted over the past 5 years on what companies and how the industry is actually being shaped. I think pre-pandemic assignments were pretty traditional, short-term, long-term business travel. I think post-pandemic with remote work and hybrid work, it has been a real shift within the industry in global
Mhm.
mobility. And I think companies that haven't adapted to that are the ones that are being left behind and losing talent because they haven't adapted to the new way of work. Technology is the way of the future, right? And
Mhm.
people have to get used to that and they have to adapt to it and they have to embrace it. I think companies that haven't done that are struggling and they will continue to struggle.
Mhm.
I think post-pandemic, the industry's trend is really hybrid work and remote work, which I
Mhm.
have seen across many, many companies which have implemented strict policies around that. And I think it gives flexibility to employees to really choose where they want to work,
Mhm.
rather than being traditionally in an office 5 days a week, which is what we were used to.
Mhm.
Now, you can really work from everywhere. And I think having that flexibility also brings about compliance risks
Mhm.
for the company as well as the individual.
Mhm.
Letting your company know your preference on where you want to work, as well as being agile and mobile to work anywhere, right, is
Mhm.
really where this industry is going. And I think very, very important to keep your employer notified about if you're not working in your home state or your home country, let them know where you are working. A lot of times it might not actually cause any issues for the company. They might be absolutely okay with it, but it does bring about compliance obligations with these
Mhm.
moves and various locations people are working in.
Mhm.
I think it's very, very important to keep your company educated and really let them know your whereabouts because
Mhm.
I don't think it's traditional anymore where people go to the office 5 days a week. I think it's
Mhm.
very sporadic and people choose that flexibility a lot of the times now. And the companies, like I said, which have adapted to this, which have updated their policies and their procedures are the ones that are flourishing and they're able to retain talent.
Mhm.
Especially people coming out of college, they are the demands I've seen from new graduates. It's pretty fascinating to see, the
Mhm.
empowerment that they feel, and I think it's good. I think it gives them power. I think it gives them flexibility. It gives them a choice on where they want to work, and I think companies have done a good job adapting to it, and we still have a lot more to do.
Mhm.
But I think companies that do that, they do retain and attract the best talent, and I think that's really important as you build a successful company and a business model and culture within your company. I think it's truly
Mhm.
important.
That's a great answer, Shiv. I appreciate the way you describe it because as a technology company and we do sales and marketing, business development and AI. So when we combine all those things, we have different type of collaborators. So some people they work in US, some people they work in UK, some people they work in Europe, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Far East, and a lot of different places. So in that way, I think you have answered specifically like, okay, if you are a grown-up companies and you need to grow your business beyond the capacity, then you need to think or you need to hire a person like you to give them a freedom to understand what would be the critical situation to focus on and as well as how you can solve specific problems because businesses they are expanding massively. They don't think about specific problems at the first, rather entering into the problem. But when I work with individuals as a growth partners, I mostly ask them, okay, think about the worst case scenarios first because that's just down the line, you don't know, and the mishap will happen, and the money you will lose, that's enormous. So think about the negative first, then think of the positive. So thank you, Shivam, for adding value to the network. So everyone, you're watching this live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Time Research and Innovation and Sales Funnel Accelerator. So you know that this podcast is recorded under Sales Funnel Accelerator, and you can see the branding on our screen. And as well as this is Innovators Circle podcast. So in every podcast, we will bring a guest and we will talk on specifically few touch points. And they are starting from technology and AI, artificial intelligence, sales and lead generation, marketing, finance, business advisory and development, tax and accounting, and sustainability. So you may ask why we are doing this podcast and what is our goal. Our goal is to empower you with result-based content to create growth, innovation, and success. So every episode of Innovators Circle podcast, we're going to be bringing a C-level executive to talk about a specific problem, how they solve problems, and how they implement and how they work to bring you the world in a fingertip. And with Innovate Circle podcast, you will learn and can implement those things with our guest and as well as within Sales Funnel Accelerator. So thank you very much for joining and watching today's live Innovator Circle podcast. I'm going to be asking Shivam next question to you. You know, you're working in the industry, but you might have a target audience. Like, who are the clients you aim to help and what key benefits do you deliver to them?
Absolutely. So I help global companies who are looking to expand their horizons outside of their home jurisdiction. As they're looking to mobilize talent and expand their business across various jurisdictions, I help them with their compliance and planning obligations, as well as the employees who relocate across borders. I help them with their tax filing obligations in various jurisdictions. I also work with high net worth individuals who have complexities to their individual tax returns. Mm-hmm. For example, an individual in the U.S. who has companies overseas in, say, countries like the UK or Germany, triggers a lot of filing obligations for them on the U.S. side as well as in that foreign jurisdiction. So I make sure that these individuals are filing the proper forms, which are extremely complex, and making sure that they're done properly to avoid any issues with the IRS or state taxing authorities, as well as in the foreign countries, making sure that they are filing their tax returns as well to avoid any issues in that foreign country. For example, if they're working in the UK, they might trigger UK tax filing obligations. So we make sure that we partner with local accounting firms in the UK to make sure that they're filing those obligations, as well as payroll, employment tax. Everything is being done properly from the onset of their assignment. Mm-hmm. Making sure that companies, as they expand, they might trigger additional obligations, additional corporate tax filings, foreign filing forms, making sure the transfer pricing policies are proper. So it's a vast variety of services that we deal with. It's not just a specific niche. We try to tailor our services to our clients' needs, and whatever it is that they need, we pull in the proper experts, whether it be me or a different partner within the firm, to make sure that we are providing top-notch service, as well as giving the best advice possible to mitigate any liabilities and risks for companies as well as individuals. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people travel across borders, or companies send people across borders for work assignments, and they really forget about liabilities or the obligations that they're triggering for their employees. And I think it's really important to educate these individuals as they have this business travel or short-term or long-term assignments that they have triggered obligations in various jurisdictions. So I make sure that we provide a holistic overview to these individuals from the onset and make sure that they are compliant through the duration of their assignments.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivam. It's been a pleasure talking to you, because I think as a business person, and this is a business show, most of our businesses in the US and UK and global, they suffer from taxation problems because each country is different and their taxation is different. So if you work in multidimensional aspects, like you work in USA, you work in UK, or you work in elsewhere, there is going to be a combination of different type of layers taxation problems. So everyone, if you have any problem regarding taxations and you wanted to get expertise, so Shivam is there. You can find him through social media, LinkedIn, and with Aprio website. Shivam, thank you for joining today's podcast. And I will ask you the next question. You know, you have different type of approaches. What makes your approach unique in helping clients achieving these outcomes that you have mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. So I think, clients come to me as a trusted advisor, first and foremost. And I think I always try to do what's in the best interest of the client. A lot of times they'll come with me various questions or things that they need, but I really try to look at further down the line for them, like what's next in their journey. What they might need now might not be what they need a couple of years down the line, and I try to educate my clients on what to look out for next, not just in the present. I think a lot of times client will come to me with an urgent need and they need help with something. And that could probably have been avoided if planning was done upfront for them for what would be something that they would require in the future. And I think I've built a really good rapport with my clients on really evaluating their unique situation. Each client is different. They have different things that they want to achieve, different business processes, different timelines on what they're looking to achieve. I really try to zone in on my clients' needs and what they will need in the future and at the present time. I think a lot of times what we do within accounting might be just something to, stop the problem now, but we don't stop the problem in the future, I feel at times. So as companies expand and their business grows, there's going to be a lot of different things that pop up along the way, and making sure that companies are educated about this is really, really important, as well as for individuals as they, an individual as he's looking to expand his net worth and, diversify his portfolio, whether it be through real estate or having companies overseas. I think educating them upfront on what they will require down the line is very, very important, because it's always easy to start something, right? But it might be harder to finish something, I feel. And I think as you start something, you're really excited on getting something going, but you're not thinking longer term of the risks and the obligations that will arise from it. So I try to take that burden off my clients and really try to put myself in their shoes on what they will need and what to look out for. And I think that approach has really done me well through my career because I think clients realize that I'm really just looking out for their best interest. I'm not here trying to sell them a service or, just have them as a client. It's really thinking of them as myself. And what I would need and what I would want someone to do for me is what I do for my clients. And I think that's the way it should be, right? A lot of times I'll speak with prospects and it might not materialize into anything. It might just be, a conversation, and I'll be completely upfront with them and say, you might not need this. I know you're thinking about it, but it might not be something that you actually need if you pivot this way, right? So it's not always about selling a service. It's really about giving clear guidance and absolute 100% genuine guidance. And I think, when I search for a service or a search for something in my personal life, right? If I'm, if I need a plumber or if I need construction done on my house, I really value people who are honest with me, right? And I try to do the same thing in my profession with my clients and my prospects. Just always be honest with them and guide them the best way that I would expect to be guided.
Thank you, Shiv. It was a great pleasure talking to you and to all the viewers. You're watching this podcast, and you know that we recorded this podcast previously, and we are broadcasting through our social media and our channels, and we are going to be continuing this conversation to the next levels. Those you have joined later in the program, for your information, I just wanted to remind you that Business Growth Podcast, and we're going to be talking about technology, artificial intelligence, sales and lead generation, marketing, finance, business advisory and development, tax and accounting, and sustainability. So any of our podcasts, we're going to bring in C-level executives like Shiv, and all other guests you will see have long-standing career as well as solving problems and are working for multi-award winning company. So today we have Shivam Malhotra, and he's from Aprio, and he has years of experiences working in business development, corporation tax, and many more. So I will jump into my conversation, Shivam. Before I jump into my next conversation, I just wanted to go for a commercial break, and we're going to be coming very soon and continue our conversation.
Great conversations start with thought-provoking ideas, and visionary leaders turn them into reality. Meet Dr. Shah Siddiqui, an entrepreneur, AI strategist, and business growth partner dedicated to helping professionals and companies push boundaries, innovate, and thrive to drive transformation.
Did you know that 92% of executives consider digital transformation and AI adaptation are essential for staying competitive in today's market? Furthermore, companies that use data-driven insights for decision-making also see a 23% boost in profitability compared to those that don't. Through ICPcast, we bring together the brightest minds in AI, business, finance, marketing, and other tentative fields to deliver strategies that drive measurable success.
Dr. Shah is the founder and C-level executive and leads multiple startups, including Gen Z marketing agency, Neurodivergent Business Consortium, NBC, Time Research and Innovation, TRI, and Green Threads DPP. He is AI and technology expert and helps businesses harness AI for scalability and efficiency. He is a sales and business growth strategist and the creator of the Sales Funnel Accelerator, SFA program, to guide C-suite executives to maximize conversions and revenue.
You might be surprised to learn innovation isn't just about your ideas. It's about execution. In fact, only 10% of companies successfully turn their innovative ideas into scalable strategies, while the rest struggle with execution. Businesses that focus on effective implementation rather than just ideation 3 times more likely to outperform their competitors. After working with industry leaders and disruptors, I have learned one thing. Success isn't just about what you know, it's about how you apply it. That's why I created Sales Funnel Accelerator and ICTcast to provide actionable insights that you can apply right way to drive business growth and innovation.
Podcasting is now one of the most powerful tools for business influence, with 80% of listeners taking action after hearing expert insights. And when it comes to driving sales, 78% of social sellers outperform peers who don't use social media for business networking.
Are you ready to be the part of the conversation that is shaping the future of business? Let's explore innovation, strategy, and leadership together. Book your cast with me today. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our Innovators Circle podcast. I'm Dr. 𝐶𝐢𝐧𝐤𝐿 from Time Research and Innovation and Sales Funnel Accelerator. And today we have a special guest, Shivam Malhotra from Aprio, and we will continue our conversation. And we have a set of questions to ask Shivam to add knowledge to the podcast, and as well as if you can follow some of his experience and expertise to improve your business. And you can also work with Shivam, and you can connect him through LinkedIn and all of the social media, as well as from Aprio website. So Shivam, thank you for you joining this podcast. I just wanted to go back to my conversation and ask you a very specific question. Before I go to jump into the question, just I wanted to discuss something that I think our audience need to know, that you have a unique things about you and you are a huge sneakers collector. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I think the audience, they need to know your personal hobby as well. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely, yes. Sneakers and me go back a long way. I mean, one of my first jobs was in a sneaker store when I was working in college, trying to make some money on the side. And working in a sneaker store, I would say, was extremely enticing to continue to buy sneakers. As I was working there, I ended up collecting over 365 pairs of sneakers. I would travel, I'm not even joking, 300-400 miles to various stores to just find one pair of sneaker in my size and, camp out overnight, waiting for the release. Certain sneakers are released at certain times, certain dates. There's very limited amounts, so I would be one of those crazy people who would go out there, make the trip, and collect that sneaker. And like I said, collected over 365 pairs of sneakers, very, very rare, limited edition ones. It was something I was really, really fascinated by and really, really enjoyed. As I got older, I would say my lust for sneakers decreased just because I got a lot busier and I couldn't make the time that is needed to collect some of the sneakers. But even now, I still have over 300 pairs of sneakers, and I've given a lot to my nephews who grew up as they were really starting to get into sneakers. I would tell them, come over, take any pair of sneakers that you want, whichever ones that fit them. But it is a hobby and it is an addiction. But thankfully, I am not as addicted as I was. And other priorities have taken prevalence in my life, but it is something that was extremely fun, and it was a good hobby.
I think I can find the similarities with you. Those people, they are very strong collector minds, I would say, or anything else. What I do, I will finish that work. Doesn't matter very small or very big. It doesn't matter. I will fail and I will gain. I will finish the work I started. Last 10.5 years, when my son was born, I started taking picture of him every day, a picture and a video. And every single day, last 10.5 years, I'm taking his photos and videos. I don't know when I will stop. Maybe I will stop one day, but that's a characteristics, isn't it? Like if you want to do things, no one can stop you. It's again, I'm going back to my other conversation, like willingness. If you wanted to do something, no one can prevent you, because I travel different countries as well as I work in different continents. If I go outside, I must ask my wives or someone, they stay at home, I need a video and a photo. You must give it to me, and that's done. So you can imagine, yes, sometimes it's challenging, but we are here to face challenges, and how you can solve a challenge, that is your creativity. So thank you, Shivam, for sharing that. That attracted me as well when I was reading your biography on the website. So I just wanted to jump back to our conversation now. So, there are many participants when you work. Are there any partnerships part of your business model? And from their perspectives, what benefits make you an ideal collaborator? Like if you wanted to work with people across the industry or within your industry, do you work as a partnership models or collaborative models? How do you work with people or businesses?
Absolutely. So, I mean, as I deal with cross-border taxation, we are part of an alliance network where we have partnerships, collaborations with accounting firms in over 100 countries. As individuals travel and as companies expand, as I had mentioned, they trigger obligations in various countries. So as part of our alliance model, we partner with these member firms in various countries to make sure that we are able to provide our clients with a holistic tax overview, whether it be US, UK, Germany, India, you name it, we could have you covered in various jurisdictions. And I think that's very important to be able to offer that to clients in my industry, because as they travel across borders and as they expand their businesses, I had mentioned they are triggering obligations. So not only do we handle their US taxes, we will make sure that their foreign obligations are getting handled as well. We personally wouldn't handle the foreign taxes, but we have a great relationship with these other firms and have collaborated with them for many years to make sure that our clients are being served just like they are by our firm. And by building trust and building these relationships with various firms all over the world, I think it really benefits our clients as well as it makes our lives a lot easier, right? We do what we're good at, which is U.S. tax and planning for foreign things that come up. And then we let the foreign countries handle their aspect, which their specialty is in their home country taxation. I think working with myself and working with my firm is extremely valuable because, for example, if a foreign firm reaches out to us, which we have an alliance with, that they have a client that is coming to the U.S., they know that they could trust us to handle their obligations absolutely perfectly. We treat their clients just like they're our own clients, even though we're being referred by another firm. That client becomes a part of our family, and now we take the best care of them, and we make sure that they are doing what they need to do, and we educate them along the way as well. U.S. tax can be very, very complicated, right? So as people come into the country or people leave the country, there's so many different aspects and various things that come up, and we don't expect the clients to know this, right? It's our job to educate them and do what's right for them. So I think partnering with us and collaborating with myself as well as my firm really serves well for clients as well as those accounting firms in various jurisdictions. Now locally, we also have partnerships with like payroll companies because as individuals transfer borders, they do have to run payroll in say the US, for example. So we do partner with payroll companies to make sure that, like I said, that we could offer our client the entire suite of services, whether it's us who does the work or if it's one of our collaborators or partner firms. We are able to help the client from point A to point Z and beyond. And I think that is very, very important in our industry that we could keep everything in-house rather than referring them to 5, 6, 7 different firms, right? If you're working with us, we will be the face, we will get the work done for you and take that pressure off of you so you could focus on your actual job, right? What you're looking to accomplish. You're looking to develop your business, you're looking to expand your business. That is your primary 9 to 5, right? So it's our job to make sure that the tax obligations and the tax burdens are not your responsibility. It's ours to make sure that we handle it. So I think collaboration in our business is super important. And I really enjoy working with these various firms all over the world. I mean, building relationships outside of the U.S. is extremely valuable. It's also nice to meet these people and travel to different countries as well. So it's a fun aspect to it as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiv, for sharing your insight. And I think viewers, they're watching this podcast will get valuable insight from you and as well as can implement them to their business. And if you have any problems, feel free to contact Shivam and he will be happy to lead you to the success. So today you are watching Innovators Circle podcast, and you know that we developed this podcast for you to understand business, and we're going to be covering technology, artificial intelligence, sales and marketing, lead generation, finance, business advisory and development, tax and accounting, and sustainability. So each of the episode we will bring C-level executive like Shivam, and we're going to be talking a specific problem and to solve this problem together. So today we are asking Shivam a set of questions, and we are nearly end of our session. We have a few more questions to ask, and I will go back to my next question. Shivam, could you please share insight on upcoming industry trends and how you are adapting to remain ahead? What is your secret sauce to, keep going again and again and again?
Absolutely. So I think in my industry, we went from traditional working in the office 9 to 5. Then we had the pandemic, we went remote. I would say for
Mhm.
2 years, companies went remote. Now we're going into more of a hybrid field where sometimes you're in the office, sometimes you're traveling or working remotely where you choose to. I think that is where the future of this industry is. Future of most companies is this hybrid workforce. And I think educating my clients and coming up with policies and updating their policies, whether it be on a tax perspective or an HR perspective, making sure that companies and clients are aware of these new challenges and these updates that they have to make to their internal policies to stay abreast of these issues and stay competitive in this market is very, very important. As hybrid workforce is taking prevalence these days and going into the future, I think companies have to be able to offer that to their employees and they have to have the right structure in place to do so. And I think myself speaking to my clients and, planning for this or making sure that if they already have this in place, that they're doing the right thing for themselves as well as their employees is very, very important. And what I do on an often basis is just touch base with my clients and see where they're looking to go next. Are
Mhm.
you are you looking to expand into a different country? Are you looking to have employees work in various different states where you aren't registered? I think it's really important to gauge what they're looking to do in the future to be able to provide them the most best and proactive advice, which is what they need going forward. Companies are very ambitious in their
Mhm.
goals and where they want to go, right? And a lot of times they will try to run before they walk, and
Mhm.
that could lead to a lot of problems. So I think
Mhm.
speaking with my clients regular basis and making sure that I am abreast of what their future plans are,
Mhm.
really puts me in a great position to advise them and pull in the right resources in various service lines and in various countries to make sure that as they look to make these moves and as they look to expand their business, we have put in the right protocols and the right processes in place for them to be successful, not just on a business perspective, but also on a compliance perspective. The last thing you want as a company is going into a different country or different jurisdiction and your business is prospering, but you are not compliant on your tax obligations.
Mhm.
That could lead to a lot of penalties. That could lead to a lot of negative publicity, and
Mhm.
that is not what you want as you're looking to build a company of the future. So I think I do a great job. And I try to do a great job in making sure I educate my clients and I stay ahead of the risks and making sure that we handle their obligations up front. And it's really just learning about your clients' future goals, and that's what we try to do.
Thank you, Shivam. It was great pleasure to talking to you, and we have learned a lot of information that we did not know previously. So thank you for adding knowledge to Innovators Circle podcast and the audience. How do you measure the success of your work, both your business and for clients you serve?
I think I measure the success of my work with various factors. One is client satisfaction. How happy is the client working with me, right? Have I broken down that barrier of client versus firm, client and
Mhm.
vendor, right? I think once you break that barrier down and your client really becomes your friend is
Mhm.
very, very important. And I think I've done a great job in my career doing that is,
Mhm.
really becoming friendly with my clients and getting to know them on a personal level, not just a professional level. And
Mhm.
I think breaking down that barrier has served me well because that builds a lot of trust with my clients. They know
Mhm.
I am caring for them as I would myself, as I would my family, as I would my friends. And being able to do that has really made things a lot easier and has really gained trust on both
Mhm.
sides. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Once you have a prospect, you really get to know them and it takes time to build that trust.
Mhm.
Once you build that trust and you break down that barrier, I think it really goes a long way. Both sides. You serve the client well, and the client is really appreciative of what you do for them.
Mhm.
And I think throughout my career, I have always thought about that and always made sure I made it a point to do that. Is really become extremely knowledgeable about my client in both business and professional aspects of it. Of course, we deal with compliance, right, in taxes, making sure that my clients are always compliant with their obligations. They're filing their returns where they need to. Payroll is being ran where it needs to. Their policies are updated. Everything is being done as it should be done. That's the compliance aspect of things, and making sure that it all goes right. So, like I said, there's a both personal and a professional aspect of making sure that your client is satisfied with the
Mhm.
work that you're providing them. And then also, sometimes just picking up the phone and calling your client and just checking in on them. How's life? How's things outside of work? What are your summer
Mhm.
plans? What are your vacations? It's not always about work, I feel. And when you do that with your clients, like I said, you build a lot of trust with them. And I think me being able to retain my clients over the years really just shows the kind of trust and the value that they have in me is because they have chosen me as their trusted advisor and now as their friend. And for them not looking to jump around to various accounting firms really shows me that I'm doing what I should be doing because a lot of times when I do get prospects from various locations, they're coming from a different firm, right? Or they haven't been given the service that they feel that they should. And I think in my case, I try to make sure that my clients get that top-notch service. I really get to know them. So they're not looking to jump around to various firms. Once they're with me, they're going to stick with me for the long run. They're a startup. We're going to be with them throughout the process as they go public, and we're going to do what's best for them. So I think that has been extremely crucial for me in my career, and I plan to continue to do that going forward.
Thank you, Shivam. It's a great explanation. And you know that whenever you work in any business, your business or my business or any other businesses, it is the core success if you understand your clients and solve problem with dialogues. Sometimes you know that we walk away, we become angry, and those things will destroy businesses. It will not increase any profitability and hinder the growth capacity as well. So thank you for sharing your core motivation and the way you work. Considering that, I just wanted to ask you another related question, like, can you share a particularly rewarding projects or client success stories highlighting the impact that you have made?
Absolutely. There's so many stories I could share, but one that comes to mind is when I was working with a client who had hundreds and hundreds of people that they were sending on business travel on an annual basis. They ran into some compliance issues with tax authorities where the tax authorities had flagged them for not filing returns for these individuals who had been traveling across borders into the US. And it really caused a problem for the company due to the penalties that were being assessed both at the payroll and tax level. This was a brand new client to me, and we were onboarding them, and then their previous provider had not really advised them of this issue as they had employees transferring to various jurisdictions and doing business travel. So as we onboarded that client and this issue came up, we had told the client, we will work with you on this issue to make sure that everything is rectified and resolved. It is going to cost you guys money because there's a lot of filings that have been missed. So that is something that you have to take care of, but we will try to do this as expeditiously as possible and try to make the process as easy as possible for you and try to put this behind us. So we had to go through, I would say, maybe 800 to 900 returns that we had to get done, 800 to 900 Form W-2s that had to get processed. And it all had to be done relatively quickly to mitigate the accruing penalties and interest for the client. I would say within about 3 to 4 months, we were able to get about 900 W-2s done, 900 individual tax returns done, make sure everything is filed, put together a comprehensive letter to the IRS as well as for the employer, making sure that we are addressing this head on and letting the IRS auditor know that this is the steps we have taken to remediate the issue, and this is what is being done, this is what is being filed, and if there's any additional questions, feel free to talk to us because this is a long process that took years for this company that had no clue about it, but we are rectifying it as quickly as possible for them. After we did everything, after we spoke to the auditor and, we submitted everything, I would say within about 6 months after they've reviewed everything, everything was resolved. We were able to bring down their penalties and interest for non-compliance, make sure that the client is up to date with all their obligations, all their employees are fully up to date. And we were able to reduce their penalties and interest by over $1 million for all these missed filings and non-compliance obligations. The client was extremely satisfied with us, and I think having that client onboarded that year really built a lot of trust for them with me, as well as the firm. We were able to, really, really secure this client long term and do what's best for them. And they realized that we would be there for them when they need us, and we will do what's best for them. So I think saving them money, saving them headaches, and making sure that their reputation doesn't get ruined through the process was really, really valuable. And I think the client appreciated it. And it was a great project to work on. And I was really happy with the outcome and the result from it.
That's a great explanation and case study. We are just nearly end of our session, and I really appreciate your thoughts and as well as your guidance and your experience. Thank you once again. And I hope that today's podcast viewers can learn some effective lessons and as well as can implement them to their day-to-day lives. And if they wanted to work with you, Shiv can be connected through LinkedIn and any other social media as well as the Aprio website. So Shiv, thank you very much for joining today's podcast. And I will just say bye-bye to the audience. Please stay on the line. Thank you everyone for tuning the Innovators Circle podcast. We hope today's conversation with Shivam Malhotra has sparked fresh ideas and provide valued insight to elevate your business strategies in sales, marketing, finance, or innovation. We have covered a wide range of topics for you to understand. Innovators Circle podcast will cover specific fields from AI, technology, business development, sales and marketing, and tax and accounting. So don't forget to subscribe our podcast on our social media and as well as like and share within your networks, because every episode you will get some new insights and fresh C-level executives. And until then, follow us on social media and I will welcome you to the next episode of Innovator Circle podcast. And until then, stay tuned, be safe, and bye-bye from me and my team. I will welcome you next episode next week. Bye-bye.